I actually went out with my wife to a restaurant and then I made an off ramp. And I think these guys were having, I don't want to mention their name, but they were having like a problem with their provider. What that meant for me was that I didn't get the money on my bank account. And imagine owing people, the waiter is standing in front of you and you're having to wait, right, to receive this money, and you want to just make that payment and leave. And then you're waiting for 20 minutes and then you're explaining yourself. It's not like I don't have the money day. Let's say you want to pay for your ex, sometimes you see that it declines. Crypto doesn't have that problem. Like, it gets to you in record time.
Crypto is changing how we pay. But why did John Babodor decide to build Remmint Pay? Let's hear it from him.
All right, GM to everybody joining us on today's live stream. Happy New Week. Happy New Month once again, just in case you're seeing me in the month of July. I'd love to, as always, welcome you to our live stream. And just in case you're joining us for the very first time, you're welcome to Onchain Africa by Afro Play. And there are a couple of things that we've done in this live stream. And one of the most important things is that we educate our viewers. And just in case you're watching us, this is where we speak to African Web3 founders. So we speak to people building from the African demographic, building something amazing on chain using the blockchain technology, either with stablecoins or DeFi, real world assets, whatever it is that they're building. We'd love to hear their story, how it is to delve into this world of tech. It's one thing to build something using tech, and it's another thing to build something using advanced technologies. Aside from the fact we speak to these founders, one thing we also try to do is to make sure that we highlight and spotlight this founder's story, because these guys built in the hardship of the economy, and most of them are Lapo babies. All right, so they also grew from these same challenges and outgrew it and thought of things or solutions that they could provide. And today, probably making a living for them, or in the future or nearest future, is going to make amazing living for them. So the only favor I always ask from you guys, and I'll keep asking, all right, because you guys will do me nothing, is that I just want you guys to retweet this live. So if you're watching us right now on X, please click on the retweet button. If you're watching us on YouTube, just share the link with a friend or share it on WhatsApp status. I'll definitely appreciate that. Or if you have a friend that should be on a live stream like this, who is building something on chain, building something amazing using the blockchain technology, or would love to be a founder, this is one place that he or she should know me, so that he or she can always ask a question or inquire whatever thing is confusing them or any blocker that they are experiencing. All right, and if you're also watching on TikTok right now, just click on the repost button. Thank you. So without any further ado, let's dive into today's live stream. And I'm having today with me the founder of Remmint and person of Mr. John. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you doing, brother?
I'm very well, sir. I'm very well. You look very cool, chill, reserved, like say life may bother you.
It's when Tinubu's regime, right? But you have to find your way around things.
Definitely. How's the weather over there, by the way? Because I know it's raining literally everywhere.
Yeah, it's been raining cats or dogs for the past few days. Here, I'm actually in Abuja, so
Okay.
When it rains, it does pour. But thankfully, it didn't rain yesterday, and then today we've been seeing signs of rain, but nothing yet.
All right. So one of our ritual, which has always been our constant ritual, is that we love to know who we are speaking with, a background story, what they were doing before, whatever it is that they're building right now, or before they got in the Web3, what probably introduced them and how they get onboarded. So, sir, I would love to hear from you. Just introduce yourself to us briefly.
My name is Babodor John. I'm actually one of the co-founders of Remmint itself. A bit of background about me, actually very simple. I was very, should I say very young when I got into crypto. Got into crypto like maybe around 2017. Did a little bit of Forex, did a little bit of crypto. Actually, my first crypto was actually scammed when I bought Bitcoin. It was a very crazy story. But going forward, I've been working in and around fintech itself. I'm actually one of the co-founders of a product called FlexPay, which was actually backed by Circle last year. It was a merchant first payment product, and then transitioning from that, building that on its own made me realize something, right? There are problems in and around the merchant space in Nigeria and across Africa. That infrastructural gap for stablecoin spend is still an issue, and I'm building towards solving all that problems. With me, before building any of this, I've actually worked in the Web3 space for a while as well. I worked with notable companies like Alchemy, Intelligence Labs, Unhashed. These are really big companies in Web3, and currently serving as African lead for Blend as well, which is also another interesting product for fintechs and neobanks and the rest of them. Yeah, so that's a brief about me. I didn't want to take too much of your time.
Thank you so much for this that you share with us. And one thing that we always see in this space that it's those people that are very early that actually make the most. All right. And like you said you've been in the space since 2017. You've been in the space for some years now, like since 2017. And I've not seen you on the timeline? Is it that you love keeping a low profile or something?
Yeah, okay, so that's a very interesting question. Thank you for asking that question. I've actually been someone who's very low key. I think I was talking to somebody last week and they're like, oh, you have like, you seem to have like a wealth of experience and everything. I was like, well, I actually do to an extent. I don't like to give myself too much accolades. And I think it's something that I need to be doing more because I've actually, been in the space. I don't really do too much tweeting. I really believe in doing the grunt work, believed in too much into, let's say, coming out all the time, being out there. I just believe in doing the work, doing all like we're the builders in the background, making things happen, making those partnerships happen, building the technology, creating that distribution. There are people who do this, this boring work, right? And around crypto, like you find out, oh, this person has been working here for a long time and everything. But yeah, I'm a very low-key person. I'm only just now trying to come out because of two reasons. One, I am currently, leading Africa for a particular project for Blend itself, and it's a really big project, and I need to actually be out there. Also, Remmint has to get that distribution, has to, come out more, and then I see the reason why I need to be outside now. That's why, I'm appearing on the timeline more.
All right, you're welcome to the timeline, by the way. It's nice having you. All right, so you said you've worked with Alchemy, and I remember those days when we were farming airdrops. I mean, we needed Alchemy to help us with those what's called testnet tokens to go and farm those airdrops on Ethereum and other chains like that. I've also worked with Surgeon's Lab and all of those things. So let's understand, like, I don't know if you work with the marketing side of this project or you work more on the technical side, but I know Surgeon's is a marketing agency, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Surgeon's is a marketing agency. I have more experience with Unhashed, which is also a marketing agency as well. I worked as a BD for these marketing agencies, basically selling the solutions that we're offering or the services directly to, big teams, teams that are, are really serious in the space, trying to really, really get out there, enabling them to get, distribution and the rest of them. So, yeah.
My next question now is, let's talk about BD. Before we go into Remmint, all right, we will get there. For people watching this right now and they've been hearing BD, I would love you to, number one, probably explain to us the job role of a BD person. And also another question, how did you go to start bagging jobs in that particular role?
BD is essentially business development, right? I would say partnership is a part of it. It's not really so different. Of course, different roles. If I say, okay, I'm a BD rep, or I'm a partnership rep, that in itself now divides it into sub roles. But business development is essentially you're a salesperson. All you are is getting new business for people, right? It's very different from marketing because people often merge them together. Of course, it's all part of the GTM, which is go to market team, right? But ultimately, I would say marketing is more about selling, creating that distribution channels, right? It's about how you appear to the public, right? Then BD itself, which is business development, is going out to get those customers one-on-one, talking to them, getting feedback and improving the product with the product team. So it's like engineering from the front, essentially. Yeah. So as regards, how I got in or how I started, I've actually always been in sales. I started with selling for a a boutique, right? So just that was when I was in school. Actually, I was mingling that with school, trying to do that alongside my schooling as well. But then I actually did see a gap in Web3, and I saw that, oh look, I can actually bring these skills here. So I started learning. I got into an internship program, very nice internship program that was run by some Ukrainians, and it was a very, very eye opener for me. I really learned a lot. I learned to, source for leads, reach out to people in masses, how to write covers and the rest of them. So getting that skill was actually a big plus. Learning how to do everything that concerns being a BD was actually a big plus for me because that's on its own. I was able to get that step up, right? And I started reaching out to people, talking to people, creating value, right? I targeted people, started creating value for them. Funny enough, the company I'm working with right now, Blend, aside Remmint itself, I reached out to the founder some years ago and said, look, I have this for you. He was like, this is actually very interesting. And then guess what? A few years later, we're working together and he mentioned one thing. I was like, oh, I feel like I've known you all my life because like you've always been there. Yeah, so that's basically reaching out to people, talking to people, creating that value for them,
Mhm.
even if it's one-on-one, or you want to do it at a large scale, maybe through content and the rest of them. That's how you really land jobs in Web3.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, so I think my last question before we go into Remmint right now, because you've been more on the marketing side, BD and all of that, and now you're building something more fintech related. At what point did you get to that? Okay, you have to have something of your own, because I mean you're doing so well in BD, all right, working with this amazing brand, having an amazing portfolio that should keep you in business for a very long time. But yet you came to the point where you say, okay, I have to co-found things, and this is not the first product you're actually co-founded. What's the mindset like for you when it comes to career and entrepreneurship and all of that?
I've always been an entrepreneur, is worth noting. Like I said, I started doing this whole crypto thing a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think, back in school, I actually schooled in Bielsa and helping a lot of people back then with that particular scam that I talked about, right? I was helping a lot of people that were being scammed like me with the technology itself, because I was introduced to it by a friend. And, I started there, started going into teaching people and everything. Before you know, I started getting gigs from there. People were, oh, I have this Bitcoin to sell. Do you want to buy? And I'll buy. And then I was running OTC. It was like a very crazy market. I've actually not shared this before anywhere, but yeah, I actually did OTC for a very long time. I was processing a lot of money essentially, right? So, but then I realized that I could provide more value, right, with doing the groundwork itself. I wanted to help this technology grow in Nigeria, in Africa, and the world, and globally, right? So, because of my belief, I started to learn technology more, getting into bigger roles. And then, doing the marketing part of things was just me contributing towards it, maybe 100. But then when I moved to Alchemy, which was a much more technical role, or just before I moved to Alchemy, also a much more technical role. One of my co-founders for FlexPay itself is the founder of Bing Teller. I don't know if you know Bing Teller, is the CTO of Bing Teller, so which is actually a cross-border payment app as well. He came to me and said, look, I have an idea, let's build something, right, that involves crypto, that's really, really good, that can really help people. And I was like, okay, I can contribute in this way. And he was like, okay, he needs those skills and everything. We got together, I started building that. Then, along the line, I was also working with Alchemy itself. That on its own introduced me into the technical world more. I started learning more of the tech behind, everything regards crypto, right? I started learning the tech from the RPCs, from the nodes, everything. I started understanding everything much better. And then that technical deep dive, and then with my experience with FlexPay itself, the gap that I saw, and I said, okay, look, I need to come in here and solve the gap. So that's why, I made that shift from marketing, working with Alchemy and the other team, into building Remmint itself.
All right, thank you so much for that explicit explanation. Really do appreciate that. All right, so you said you studied at Bielsa, all right? So I would love to know what course you probably studied at Bielsa, and I don't know if that particular course or degree you took in school is playing any role in your life today.
I'll leave it to you when I say the course, because I actually studied. I actually studied physics. I was majored in geophysics, but yeah, I studied physics. And then currently running my master's program in Master's in Information Technology. Maybe it does correlate in some ways, but I can't tell if it's really why I'm here.
I don't think so, because I studied mathematics and here I am today.
I mean, you're still working in blockchain at the end of the day, so
well, that's a role to play, by the way. All right, so let's dive into Remmint today. All right, so for someone just hearing about Remmint for the very first time and has no idea what Remmit's all about, I would love to break it down. Break down what Remmit's all about and why it matters to people watching right now.
Remmint is actually very simple. It's a problem that most crypto people are facing, but they do not know that they're actually facing these problems, right? So we've, over the past let's say 2-3 years, we've been seeing the rise of many off-ramp products, really great ones, by the way. I don't have a problem with off-ramps, right? But here's the deal. There is still a problem. There's still a problem, because the goal of crypto is to solve a lot of problems around privacy, owning your own thing, right? Fiat does not take you there. It's the traditional system, right? Most of these off-ramps, they work in a way where you have to off-ramp and then, make these payments and then all of that. It works, but then sometimes it's slow, and that's where crypto comes in. We've seen the rise of stablecoins, we've seen the rise of payments, cross-border payments being used by stable coins and the rest of them, right? And we saw this gap, and then we said, okay, look, we can come in, because I actually went out with my wife to a restaurant. What made me realize that this is actually a problem and why we're solving it at a very, very interesting level. I went out with her, and then I made an off ramp, and I think these guys were having, I don't want to mention their name, but they were having like a problem with their provider. What that meant for me was that I didn't get the money on my bank account. And imagine when people, a waiter is standing in front of you and you're having to wait to receive this money, and you want to just make that payment and leave. And then you're waiting for 20 minutes, and then you're explaining yourself. There was that problem in infrastructure level, switching back to fiat, and then making that spend itself, right? Of course, crypto cards also come into that play, but it's still the same mechanism underneath. And then with with card itself, there's a lot of problems around, let's say, spending it, right? Let's say you want to pay for your X. Sometimes you see that it declines. You want to pay for this, it declines at the end of the day. Crypto doesn't have that problem. Like, once I send the money, it's gone. It has gotten to you, and it gets to you in record time. I mean, even now there are so many blockchains that are saying, look, we solve these problems for you, like the speed problem for you, in less than a second, right?
Yes.
And you can see it for many of them. It actually works. Of course, there will still be need for cards, there will still be need for bank transfers and the rest of them. But someone who's crypto savvy should not be forced to pay FX fees, should not be forced to do those off ramps just because they want to spend somewhere. So I'm thinking, look, I want to pay for my flight ticket to Lagos, right? I shouldn't have to off ramp and then use one card to pay. Like, if I can send that crypto straight to the provider themselves, that would make a lot of sense. So that's what Remmint does in a nutshell, right? But essentially, we're still, stablecoin native crypto payment gateway. So think Flutterwave or Paystack or Cora, but with crypto itself.
I love the examples you just gave. Now I think it just simplifies everything, because anybody watching this right now has probably used Flutterwave at a particular point, or used Cora at a particular point, or probably I'm trying to pay for Ibu Air flights. Definitely I have to use probably Paystack or Flutterwave.
Yeah,
it's something that actually happens. We use on a daily basis, either knowingly or unknowingly. And you guys are saying, okay, we are creating a crypto version of this. So to our viewers right now, so just imagine your Flutterwave but in a crypto version. Simple as ABC. All right, thank you so much for that. So I know building something like this is actually very, very technical. All right, and it has a lot of complications back and forth and all of that. You get. So I would love you to probably just explain to us how the journey started, how you had the idea, how the journey has been for you guys building this, and probably how long you've been building this idea you have.
So I'll start with the last question. We started building I think last year around November. My team is actually very amazing. I don't know if they're here right now watching this live but like, they're actually very amazing. Our CTO he likes to be very under the radar. He's not ready to be out there yet, but he does have a very successful product in Web3 already. And he's really, really good at what he does. So we saw this problem there, and then we said, look, we need to solve this problem at this level, at a merchant level, right? Let's do this. I called the CTO myself and said, look, what do you think about this? And he was like, oh, he's already doing something like this. He already has the groundwork for this, and let's have a chat. And then we met up. And then we started talking about, the unique angle where we can come into things, right? Which is something we'll probably get into later on. But like, we're also doing this subscription model. So we realized that it's not just merchants. There are different kinds of merchants. There are those who actually also need subscriptions, right? People like SaaS companies across Africa, they also need subscriptions. And we're also adding that layer as well for them. So we're not just thinking about the merchants in real life, or the e-commerce brands, or the social media panels and the rest of them. We're also thinking about, those SaaS companies, those companies who accept subscriptions themselves. And also WhatsApp as well. We're doing something on WhatsApp too, so very interesting.
What are you guys doing on WhatsApp, I beg?
There's a spot I like buying loaded fries from, right? And they have a store on WhatsApp, but every time I want to make payments, I have to be redirected again to, pay through fiat and the rest of them. So I realized that there's a way to solve that too, right? And we started working on it. So it's like, when somebody clicks on, checkout, Remmint should come up and enable them to pay. And, going forward, we're also going to be introducing cards for those who really, really, really need the card thing. But primarily right now, focused on our crypto product.
All right. Thanks so much for that. Probably let's paint a mental picture right now. All right. So assuming now I want to probably make a payment for something in Naira. All right, but I have crypto. Is there at any point where I have to connect my wallet to the platform before all these things happen, or Remit automatically generates probably an address from to send this to, and it converts it to fiat and sends it down to the receiver's end.
As a merchant, we actually give you the ability to choose from the
Mm.
get, right? You can toggle on if you want to just see Naira alone. You don't want to interact with anything crypto. If you're someone who's not crypto native, you don't want to interact with anything crypto, right? We have a button on our dashboard where you can just click on it and then you don't see anything crypto. Everything is in Naira. Immediately your money gets paid, you see it in Naira, it converts into Naira automatically, and you can make that withdrawal to your bank if you need it at every given point, at any time, at all, any day. We're basically giving that, that layer of that traditional layer using crypto underneath, because ultimately it's how to make these complexities disappear. That's what will drive crypto adoption, right? And
Yes,
then
sir.
for the payment part of things, like when you click on pay with Remy, right? What happens is you just see your address. You don't have to connect your wallet. You can just copy that address or scan the QR code and make that payment, and the merchant receives it instantly. For the final user, all they need is just copy the wallet address. You don't have to connect your wallet. I mean, I'm personally scared of connecting my wallet just anywhere. So I think
Mm.
we made it that for a very good reason. As we go forward, if there are people who request for us to, make that particular development, we'll see into it as well. But right now, the mechanics is you copy your wallet, make payment, and the merchant receives the money at the back end. It converts automatically to fiat for them if they need, but it stays in crypto if they also need it that way.
All right, thank you so much for that. So here's the Remmint Twitter page. Let me just zoom in quickly a little bit more. And just in case you are not aware of this, please do well to go down to Twitter and give them a follow on X right now. For everybody watching us right now on YouTube and also on Twitter, please do well to give them a follow on X. And currently their website is also live. You can go down to their website to read more about it, understand what they're building, have a deeper understanding of what it is that they're actually building. Back to business right now. I see one thing that you actually made emphasis about from your previous tweet is about security, all right, and compliance. While a lot of people, and I know somebody doing this, or let's say I know Paj actually is building something similar to this on Solana ecosystem. They are more about speed, all right, but you guys are more keen on, or more, you've emphasized more on security and compliance. I would love to know why that has been a very strong suit for you and your team.
The payment space essentially is a very, very, very sensitive space, right? If we're being honest, it's probably one of the most sensitive space. It concerns money. Started with compliance, right? Because we believe that, we have to do things the right way. We do on the wallet level, we do OFAC screening on our own to make sure that sanctioned wallets are not coming through our platform, right? Just to make sure that, we have that level of security to protect both our users, our merchants, and ourselves as well, right? Because when governments come, it's not because of a bad reason most times, to protect people involved in some of these transactions, right? Because imagine someone does something and then he uses your platform to you enable him through your platform. For example, people were complaining about what happened with the Bybit hack for last year.
Yes,
Imagine
sir.
people's money, about 1 point something billion was stolen in dollars, was stolen. The highest, I think, the biggest hack or the second biggest hack in the world or something like that. Imagine your platform enabling that because you want to make some money. It doesn't make sense. You've essentially, contributed negatively to society itself, not positively. So at the end of the day, we are compliance first because of the human factor beyond the government's part of things as well. So that's why we started building with compliance. And then security itself, is also very paramount, right? I think they go hand in hand. We try to be, create that security as well to ensure that, people are not losing funds in any way. I'm always talking with my team, creating scenarios for them to see how we can mitigate issues before they even come up itself. So yeah, all those things are very, very, very important for us.
Very important. All right. Thank you so much for that. So you talked about there's a level to the security on Remmint that scans people's wallets. I'd love to probably just emphasize a little bit more on that, how it works.
Yeah, so we have AML partners who are constantly, screening transactions, right? Okay, so AML is just a set of, should I say, instructions on what to watch out for, the behaviors of scammers, right? So sometimes these scammers can be very, very smart, right? They can start doing things in a certain way just to avoid your AML systems or your checks, because you just have to make a huge amount of payment or a certain amount of payment, and then it gets flagged as AML, and they know this more than me and you, and they know how to mitigate it. But some of these security agencies independent security auditors and the rest of them. They flagged certain wallets, right? And then we looked at it and said, look, we are going to be running, every wallet that comes into our system, or every payment that comes through the OFAC system. So if a payment comes in, so that it does not affect the merchant itself, we only flag that payment. It doesn't affect every other part of things, right? We're trying to, the way we're running our wallet module and the rest of them, it's flagging it per transaction, not per merchant itself, like most other people do. So when that payment comes in, we flag the payment itself, and then make you either refund it, or start basically explaining, trying to get that customer to come to book to be able to clear up that payment, because sometimes some of these systems might fail, but they do have a very high rate of accuracy. But then we still create that avenue to be able to listen to the merchants themselves, so that we can mitigate some of these issues.
All right, thank you so much for that explanation on that. So let's just talk a little more about compliance. Are you guys actually very keen on? We know that compliance is something that keeps being edited as time goes on and all of that. Now, since you guys are actually more, let me say, compliance centric, how do you guys actually build a gateway that stays compliant across all borders? When it comes to regulations and the fact that they are constantly being updated.
If you've gone through my tweets, you see I always talk about compliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I am always thinking in trying to learn the new things, trying to understand what laws, and understand the reasons behind some of these laws, right? I try to give that little bit of listening ear to the government, to understand why they are thinking the way they are thinking, right? So we keep tabs a lot on the shifting compliance scene. We understand that these laws are updated based on how the usage comes in and the rest of them. So like we try our best to keep tabs, understand what's going on, and basically shift our modules just to be able to accommodate that bit of compliance. Because like I said, we're very, very keen on it. It's not something that we're playing with, be it from handling users' data to screening wallets to ensuring that some of these the taxation systems and the rest of them, everything, our KYC systems, we're keeping everything in check essentially.
Yeah, so it's just to always stay up to date with the news and what's happening globally, actually. Yeah, thanks so much for that, sir. Let's also talk about what you guys are building also at Remmint now. Is Remmint just meant for users, people that do day-to-day expenses, or there's a B2B aspect or B2B side of Remmint?
Like I said, the way we are structured is a B2B2C, right? Because we service customers at the end of the day. Your customers are the ones who make these payments. They also interact with Remmint itself, and then you interact with Remmint because we enable you accept those payments, right? You also interact with Remmint yourself. So we service both customers, businesses alike. But for the customer aspects of things directly, I'd say our current product, a customer cannot come in and just register if you're not a business, right? Because we are primarily B2B. Right, but then we service customers through our merchants and our businesses that are, built on top of us.
All right. Thank you so much. So, for example, we have probably a business owner watching right now and would love to build on your infrastructure right now. What are the steps that you need to take to get across that?
I try to make things as easy as possible, not complex, right? Our current system allows you to be able to integrate in less than 30 minutes and you're done. Our CTO would say 5 minutes. I'll tell him, look, not everybody's like you, okay? You have to understand that people who need those extra steps, people who are not tech savvies, right? We're also serving some of them. Like there's a product, someone who vibe coded an entire product, but he's doing very well. And he reached out and we talked and everything. And, we also onboarded him, but I realized that he's probably not very technical, right? At the end of the day. So he just asks ChatGPT and then they tell him everything he needs to know. He gets everything. Just register on the platform, verify your KYC, KYB, and then that's basically it, right? You just get your docs, get your API. Ask ChatGPT if you don't know how to do it on your own. If you don't know how to read docs, it tells you everything you need to do step by step, and then you can just integrate. And within 30 minutes, you're live. You're already live. You can start accepting your first payment, making your withdrawals and the rest of them. We're really that simple to use.
All right. I'm currently on the website right now, just trying to explore a couple of things right now. When I click on the get started, it's asking me to sign up, right? Going down to signing up, it's asking me for a business name. Is this sign up just for businesses or for personal people?
Like I said before, you can fill in your name for the business name. I mean, we're servicing people who are like Instagram vendors, for example, right? We have
Mhm.
payment links for them. That's one feature of Remmint that actually serves people like that. But they are still merchants ultimately, right? They're still business owners. Let's say someone's selling shoe on Instagram. You can come into Remmint, fill out your business name and all of that. Fill out your name if you don't have a business name, right? And then go into the dashboard, create that payment link. It's listing your product. We allow you to list your product as well. Basically creating a storefront, just like in I think Flutterwave does it as well. I think Paystack does it. Creating that storefront, creating the product, showing like displaying the product, adding those product pictures, the images, and the rest of them. Your customers just need to click on the link and they would see those images, see everything about the product, see the price as well, and then just make that payment. For Naira product, for example, we convert that automatically. We show everything. Everything is very transparent. We show how it converts, the current rates and everything. You just see what you need to pay and then make that payment as well.
How has it been like onboarding Nigerian businesses to Remmint?
Well, it has actually been interesting, to be honest. Let's say I do have an unfair advantage because I do have some of my friends who already need this product, who are already building something that need this product, right? So I reached out to a couple of them. Look, would you like to come on and build on us? I don't put us out there so much yet because we are trying to understand what these people want. There are some of them who are already processing, with their previous providers, they were already processing over 500k a year, right? These are really good businesses. We try our best to make sure we get that feedback from them and understand what they need and then service them accordingly.
All right, makes sense. Okay, so for now, you guys have not onboarded, let's say, a normal restaurant out there.
In terms of onboarding people, we're already onboarding, businesses around these niches. But in real stores right now, I think somewhere between first and second quarter of next year, we should be live with that.
Whew, man, I wish you guys all the best because I think this journey is going to be a long one and also very interesting, like you said earlier on. All right, so I would also love to understand because I think with Remmint right now, it's a lot of work. And you're also the African lead for Blend. How are you managing this? And you also have a very beautiful wife, which I'm sure she needs attention. So how do you manage your life together?
It's actually very, very simple once you've gotten the hang of things. About just having that eye agency, right? Doing what you need to do at a time. I mean, some friends of mine say, "Oh, look, you always stay inside, guy. You don't come out. You're always in and everything." And I'm like, even with my team, I tell them like I'm working all the time, right? I'm always working. If I see a target for Remmint, I reach out to them. I don't hesitate. If I see my target for Blend, based on what we're doing and how we're building, which is a very interesting product, by the way, for founders who are also building in fintech. I just basically attend to what needs to be attended to at the time it needs to be attended to, right? And then I'm able to manage these different aspects of my life, and even more that you currently I have not put out there as well. I'm able to merge everything together in my day, and I work sometimes through to midnight, sometimes early mornings, wake up very early to start working and the rest of them. So yeah, it's a very interesting journey, and having that eye agency really helps helps you manage everything together. Elon Musk, for example, right, is a typical example of someone who is doing a lot of things. Imagine, even if he's not doing it at the ground level, he's managing all of these things at the same time. He's doing more than I am. And if someone like that, who's a billionaire, who's already making so much money, handling a lot of things, who am I at the end of the day?
Who are you? All right, I really understand that. And on the other hand, there's not just excuse to start to show up. All right,
Yeah.
you just have to show up when you need to show up. Like you said, doing what's needed to do at the time. All right, and which a lot of people don't actually understand that. They just, I'm tired, let me just go and rest and just leave all the things I have to do. And don't get us wrong, all right, there's room to rest, but don't neglect the job you have to do. Let's also go back to Remmint now. You guys have been building since last year. Now, what milestone have you guys really achieved so far? And at what point did you know that what you are doing is the right thing and you are not wasting your time?
If anybody has built anything in any infrastructure in general, they know how cumbersome it is. Before you get that product out, you have to get things right first of all. That's to say, you need to first of all get the whole, if you're doing KYC, how you're building the product, who you're building it for, getting the technology right. It's never an easy thing, right? But we started, and then we, at least that's the first milestone. The fact that we started is the first milestone, I would say. Then the next milestone will be, us, launching into beta, which we're currently still on, onboarding those partners, because we want to ensure that, they're not lab rats, they are actual businesses and we're building for them, right? But we're using them as a pilot to launch into other businesses as well, so that when we do come to these other businesses, we now have a very clear understanding of what the market is saying and how it's working for us. So currently, I'd say we already do have a lot of traction. I Our wait list initially, we got lots and lots of sign-ups, honest, and we so far processed a good amount of money. I will not be sharing that volume, right now, because I'm not someone who chases vanity metrics, to be honest, because at the end of the day, it's revenue, right? Not just volume.
All right, thank you so much for that. All right, so let's just begin to wrap up right now because I know you have other things that you actually want to go back to do, so I don't take much of your time. So, to somebody watching this right now, probably a young person trying to figure out life, I'm sure that probably in the beginning, like you didn't figure out life. Also, life was also tough for you and things like. But you were able to scale through to build this that you're building right now. So, I would love to also share one or two things with us as regards that line.
For anybody watching, for anybody thinking about building, the first thing to do is to start. Whether or not you building or you want to just work in Web3, it doesn't really matter, right? There is no one size fits all for anybody. I mean, at the end of the day, people still work, people still make money from working. I mean, some people don't even want to take the risks to even build their own businesses because it's not an easy thing to do. Or I believe generally that building, something like the skill and the knowledge, right? Even if you don't have any of that, you can learn things along the way. Just start. That's the first thing to do. Start learning that skill. Start reaching out to people. There's nothing stopping you from reaching out to people. I'm now trying to create content. I'm not trying to write more, share my knowledge as well, right? But I wasn't doing it before. It's something that I want to do. It's something I want to learn how to do. That's why I'm putting myself out there, under the rock, and from just building in the background to come out and tell people that, look, you can actually do this. If you're someone who is looking to get a job as well, learn things based on basically, first of all, learn the skill you're going for. Read books, right? No, there's no monopoly or anywhere. Just read books, learn the skill, and then come out, put yourself out there. Start reaching out to people, start talking to people, start understanding people's views, start trying to understand how people think and the way they think and why they think the way they think. And you definitely get to where you're going to.
All right, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Thank you so much, sir. But let's just narrow something down to probably founders now, the solo founders out there building something alone. Now, I'm sure you guys have a team you are working with, a team of 2, 3, 4 people you're working with now. How was it like, or how did you guys get to choose team members, and how was another thing a lot of founders actually struggle with is payments, paying team members. And I don't know if you guys are paying your teams right now or than when you guys started, but how was it? How did you guys choose team members, and how did you probably what's the word? Incentivize them? Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I would always advise people is, if you can do it on your own, there's no need to really launch, having teams. I think you should first figure out things on your own first before rushing to create a team. Why? Because we often see where these businesses come up and then they get people around, they rally people, and then the next thing they are firing people and the rest. Like I don't believe in creating that craziness. I believe that if you can bootstrap, right? We're currently three in the team, and all three of us pull our weights, right? We have the chief product officer and the CTO, and then myself, right? I handle the marketing and BD part of things, right? That on its own is definitely not easy, but like I make sure that I'm able to keep tabs of in and around things. I still set the goal and the objective for the team itself, and I allow my team execute. I believe and I trust in them. If they come to me and say, look, this is what we think, this is how we think it, this is how we're thinking about it, I basically just say, okay, let's do it this way, let's try it this way. Even if it doesn't work, we find our way and we go back and then we continue. So building out teams, hiring, and the rest of them should come when you know that your product actually works. The Evo Trade, for example, they don't just start and then just go and get boys, right? They start building these businesses from the ground up. When it's like really, really matured, they start getting people to come in and then work for them and the rest of them. So we're still at that stage where, all three of us are handling everything practically by ourselves. So right now, if you book a call with us, you'd see my face, you'd see the CTO's face. He might not turn on his camera, but you definitely hear his voice and everything. And at the end of the day, we're just showing up, doing our bits and creating that little bit of value for ourselves and our merchants at the end of the day. So when the time comes to hire people, and it's very, very soon, because I think we're now looking to go out. So very soon we'll be putting out roles for social media managers and a few other roles as well.
All right, thank you so much for that. I think at this point your CTO guy must be a national threat because what the hell, what are you hiding from, man?
In fact, he might be in this call with a pseudonym. That's how much he likes to hide. And I told him, I mean, we're on a call, and I told him, guy, you have to come out at the end of the day. Like, you
Yeah,
have to come out. You have
eventually.
to show yourself. This is someone who has built systems for Nigeria itself as a country, right? He has worked with, a health, like a government, a particular government for, or a government agency to build out their entire system. So this is someone who is very, very well versed in what he does
Very,
and
very true.
building, a Web3 product as well that is doing pretty well. At the end of the day, I told him come out, but he's like, when the time is right, he'll come out, and you guys will definitely see much of him when the time is right.
All right then, no wahala. Then we're looking forward to that. All right, so just low key, how far right now? You talked about you guys are in very very soon. For those who are watching right now, this is going to be a preview information to them right now. I don't know. Are you guys taking interns right now, probably for social media management, content, and things like that? If you guys are taking it, if the answer is yes, how or what's a step that they can take to reach?
Well, if we see someone who's hungry for the internship position itself, I don't mind throwing in, some incentives as well. But like primarily, we're not really looking to hire right now, like immediately right now, right? But very soon, we've been talking to very interesting companies. Like we've talked to Tata, we've talked to Circle. These companies are, what we're building on, right? So we're creating those relationships. And when the time comes, these people, when the time comes to hire people, right, we'll be able to take on these talents, right? We'll be able to give, because I don't want to just have people on board and don't give them the best experience that they need to get, right? I want to be able to create value so that beyond me, they can also, or beyond Remmint at the end of the day, they can also start their own businesses, start running their own thing. That's
Fair.
like our goal right now. So if we do see exceptional talent, someone who's very hungry, reach out to me on X. You can find us on our Remmint page itself. You see our social medias there. You can follow and then text the pages as well. I'm always monitoring all those conversations or all those channels too.
All right, so just in case you want to reach out to Mr. John, here's his Twitter handle. Please do not send me any DM. All right, because I will not be responding. So send me a DM yourself. Shoot me a follow on X also, and follow up what he's been building for years. Sir, thank you so much for the time. It's been an amazing 1 hour speaking to you. I really enjoyed every bit of this conversation. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I look forward to keeping tabs with you, helping you guys on this journey that you guys are embarking. In wherever way AfroClick can support, we are out there to definitely support you. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.